Okay, so we're going to go through the basic setup of your PC, your desktop, your laptop, and then go right through Office 365 and everything it has to offer you. And then first, we'll kind of go through our resource overview. So it kind of all goes hand in hand with each other. So we'll start with Office 365 in the resource overview. So on the resource overview, you have a list on the first page. You can see in the handout that I gave you that there's page numbers at the bottom. So this one says 36 because this is all a part of a bigger book. So they're a little bit out of order on this today, just because I picked from this book to kind of put it together for today's presentation. So we want to start off the year making sure you're set up correctly, because my goal for this year is to get you really on the basic stuff. So we're going to go right through every system, and then we're going to go in depth in training on how to enhance your marketing, enhance your production. But we need to all be on the page as far as setting everything up, so that we don't have the same issues as forgetting passwords. Where's this website? Where do I go for this? We need to understand what's available for us, because we have so much that is given to us. So on that resource page, you'll see the first thing that we'll go through is Office 365. When we say Office 365, people automatically just think your email. One thing is your email, but it also entails SharePoint, all your Office Online suite, which includes Office Online Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, and it has your OneDrive as well. So we'll go through that today on how do you set that up, how do you manage this, because it is a cloud feature. We want you to use our email because we have the insurance policy in there, and so if we have any kind of electronic fraud going on, we have that insurance policy to protect you. But we want you to use your OneDrive because it's going to speed up your computer, and you won't lose documents. So we'll go through how to set that up today. The CRM, we will go have a series. I have that set up. I think it's more towards March, where we'll go through different aspects of the CRM, whether it's tracking your production and your expenses, using your contact management, and using your email and mailing out campaigns. So we'll go through that. And so you'll see on the SharePoint website that I'll show you where that is today as well, exactly what week to show up. If you're unfamiliar with anything, make sure you show up for that Tech Tuesday. The Resource Center, I have classes on that to go through exactly what the Learn Center has to offer in there, and the different marketing that we have in there. And then obviously we have Maris. The biggest thing with Maris is that there's a lot inside of it. So currently we're using Matrix. We are going to be moving over towards Remind. It is, and I want to make sure that we're staying on top of Remind developments throughout the year this year, because we are getting closer to making that change, and they are developing it more and more every day. So I want to make sure, I feel like it's not completely there for us to completely use for all aspects, but there are certain things that we should start being aware of and get familiar with, so that we're not hit or caught off guard. Collateral Analytics, that is, we'll go through that one day. It's a super easy program to do. There's a lot more in depth that you can get into. That's really, if you're a nerd like me, you can have a lot of fun with it, but it's a great tool to use just for a market, a comp report, because it shows what's sold in Maris and off of Maris. So all your for sale by owners, your Maris exempt properties, it will show up in there. And then you have your Forms or Us. So even like today, so we always keep those up and fresh. So today we had the new change of going a new upgraded payout sheet. And we will continue to keep everything in Forms or Us. So I know we had some stuff up on SkySlope with the forms. That didn't work out for us. And then it was confusion between, do I go to SkySlope? Do I go to Forms or Us? So we're moving everything right back to Forms or Us, so that you guys have one place to find all forms. And then we have SkySlope. And so when we look at SkySlope, we'll have some classes about that. But the best way to look at SkySlope is that it's like a file cabinet. And that's really what it's just a big storage unit. Our auditors can go in there and make sure you have your files all in order, so that if we would ever get audited, you have the clear. We don't have to worry about anything there. It's also where we send our electronic signatures as well. So there's different templates and tasks that you can have in there. So I'll have a class on that. Then we have your online HSA. So that's just an easy website to order your home warranties through. LastPass will go through today on how to save all your passwords. If you do not use this, please use this software. I can't express how much I need everyone to be on LastPass this year, because the emails that our IT department get, the number one still to this day is I can't remember my password. And then we have Total Expert. So Total Expert is our marketing that we have to us from USA Mortgage. So you can get very custom, but they have local printers here so that you can have stuff in a quick turnaround, and it's very a professional grade, and you can get it out to all your clients. And then the last thing is Canva. So it says on here, free simple marketing. Yes, it is free. There is a paid for version, which I highly encourage you to get on Canva. It's not for everyone. So if it works for you, if you do the free version and you like it, Canva is going to be a time saver for you when it comes to marketing. So I love Canva. It has continued to grow. It's a woman-based company, so it's very organized and nice and neat. So I love promoting it, but it does help with social media, getting from used to using any kind of video technology, as well as your print marketing if you want anything very unique or custom, but have basic templates that you can just change colors quickly too. So we'll have a bunch of classes about Canva and Remind and all this to come. So make sure you stay on top of that Sharepoint. I'll send out the reminders in the email as well. But I really want everyone to have the basics down and know what to look for moving forward and being able to jump into these classes and not be completely lost. So I want to get us all on the same page. And the first thing is making sure you're set up. So I can go into any computer. I broke my computer last week. The whole screen cracked. It wasn't, I'm pretty sure, I want to blame it on my kids. I don't think it was my fault, but I quickly had to go onto another laptop and set myself up. So if I didn't have all these in place, I would have spent hours resetting everything up. Everything wouldn't be in the same order. So I have everything designed so that with like completely user friendly. And that's what I want for you. So we have the same questions of, I don't know the website, I don't know my password. So we want to hit those objectives head on. So the first thing that we do, I'm going to have us go through all of Office 365. And the reason why is because we have quick links to all of our resources right in Office 365. So in Office 365, it is more than just your email. Of course, we do have your email, but, and that's what we're used to using is that what they called Outlook. But when you're in Office 365, anywhere in it, you can click on the top left-hand corner and you'll have a drop-down menu of different apps available. So Outlook is going to be your email and calendar. And if you have any questions for that, we'll kind of go through that in just a second, some of the neat features that we have in this. You can see that I am in the dark mode. It's a little bit easier on your eyes to see and read. So I like to keep everything in there. So you have settings like that you can have, and it'll work across Office 365 everywhere you go. You'll see that you have your Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Now, the biggest thing about these three items is that these are going to be online versions of this only. So it's going to be a little bit different than what you would normally see if you had the desktop app and some of the shortcuts. And so I still like to use the desktop app because there is, you know, some of that generational challenge where I grew up on these programs. I know all the little shortcuts and cheat sheets to get through, maneuver through these easily. And not all of those are available on the online version. So I have a lot of agents that come to me and want to know, should they pay for the version as well? And here's what I say. If you are not comfortable with the online version and the way to think about how you save stuff and everything's automatically on cloud-based, and you need that desktop version, because if you only have the online version, you can't download stuff and then open it. You have to save it to your OneDrive and then open it online. So that's where it gets a little bit of a confusion. And if you like to use the shortcuts, then pay for the download version. But if you can train yourself just to use the online version, it's going to save you money. So, and I'm frugal. I like to save everyone money. But I also want you to be able to use the products and the information that we hand out to you. So we'll go through that a little bit. Sharepoint is going to be where we share through offices or from the actual, where everyone can share it together. So that's where everyone can see whatever's on there. So when we talk about anything on SharePoint, if you're going to take anything from SharePoint and use it for your own personal use, you always need to save it to your OneDrive first, or if you make any changes to it, everyone in the office, in all of the offices, will be able to see it. OneDrive is where you save all your personal stuff. So OneDrive is basically what you probably use your desktop for right now. When you start saving stuff to your desktop, it is going to slow your computer down. So we want you to stop that habit, and it's a hard habit to stop, but we want you to start using your OneDrive. That way you can have a longer life span for your computers, and you can, if your computer would crash, you can always get all your documents anywhere on any computer. So you don't have to worry about losing anything when you use your OneDrive. So we'll go through this a little more in depth, but I wanted to go through the overview of these. There are additional apps in Office 365 that I do like to use. So Forms, if you want to do any kind of surveys or anything, that's a nice little feature. Bookings is going to be a link that you can link up with your Facebook. And it actually, so someone can schedule something on your Facebook business page of a time that they want to meet you. And based off your calendar in Office 365, it'll give you availability time slots that they can choose from. So it is a nice little feature that they have to offer there if that's something you want to do. The biggest thing is Teams, though. Teams, if you're working with any other agent on any kind of project, this is an easy way to not be have something that's so convoluted. So if you want to have a conversation, the conversations here are almost like instant messages back and forth. So, but you can also attach documents. So for that one conversation, it's not that crazy email thread going back and forth that you have to find and try to find the attachments, and it gets really messy. This just does the same thing, but it just organizes it out. It also has a Skype feature. So if you guys all want to have a quick online meeting, you can click join Skype, and you can all meet each other and have like a nice little online quick meeting together and kind of talk face to face that way. So that's a nice little thing. And then you have My Analytics. This is a great thing if you're really trying to hone down your productivity this year. My Analytics is automatically running in the background. But if you go there, it will tell you how productive you are, where you're wasting time, how to keep more focus. So, you know, I am available to focus 77% of the time. My well-being, I've had 0 quiet days. So I need to, it takes into account all your emails. It tracks how, if you're supposed to be in meetings, how many emails are you actually reading during that meeting? So it does take a lot into account, but it does help you when you're trying to start off a year and be accountable and focus down, because we are more productive if we focus on one task at a time. You will achieve way more in a day. So, but it does have a lot of different breakdowns for you and gives you feedback on what you need to change in your day. So that's it. They have a bunch of different apps too that you can choose from, and you can kind of just go through. And I have it. It's all nice to kind of view through. But those are the ones I mainly use as of right now. A couple things when we go into your actual Outlook email, your settings are going to be in the top right-hand corner. With your email signature, you can always just type in email, and it'll start bringing our signature, and I'll pull up all the options for that. If you need any help actually establishing your signature, you can always contact me or your office admin, because there are some issues when you start putting any kind of pictures into the signature. Big thing to note is that you will need to do a separate signature on your actual phone than your desktop as well. So those are 2 different programs. So make sure on that app you create your signature there as well. You can see that I have the dark mode turned on. And this is where you can kind of do your focus inbox. So that your focus is where it can actually pull apart when emails coming directly from a person, and emails that may be coming from a person, or it may be like a spam email. So it doesn't want to get rid of it, but it wants you to know that that's not something you should strongly focus on first. So we'll pull those apart. So I like to have that on, but you can choose to turn that off if you want it all to be in one mailbox. You can turn on your desktop notifications, and then how you want to see and view all of your emails. And then the conversation view, that's another big thing, is that how you want those conversations to be shown as your newest message on top, or you can have it off. I choose to turn it off because I want email separate. But if you like to have that email where it's like that keep replying back and forth, and you want to see that whole thread all together, you can have that turned on, and it shows, and you can choose how to display that. So other things, so if you're looking for your calendar, it's going to be in your left bottom corner. You can click on your calendar. You can add multiple different calendars. So I can have my personal life, which is always empty. I can have my girls' calendar of all their activities, and then my work calendar. The one thing is that when we talk about integrating the calendar to any other source, it is going to pull the main calendar for you. So just make sure that if you want anything to go through to any third-party source, that you do put that on your main calendar and not on the other optional ones. So that's pretty much on everything on there. So as we jump in we'll go to OneDrive. The nice thing about OneDrive is that it's really easy to start it out. So if you have a lot on your desktop, it will not take you a long time to move it all over here. So it's super user-friendly. The best thing to do on here is, let me close some of this stuff down. So you'll notice that I have things on my desktop. This is kind of how I do, is sometimes I have to save stuff, but I don't want to save it in my OneDrive because I won't need it outside the next 5 seconds of my life. So every Friday I have it where I just clean up my desktop and delete everything that's on there because I don't actually need it. I just needed it to download it and upload it somewhere really quick, but I didn't want to save it in my OneDrive because I'll never need to use it again. So most of this is going to be stuff that I'm just using for examples as I'm teaching. So if you have files, you can take any of the files, as long as you're in your OneDrive, you can take any of your files here and just drag and drop it. And it will go ahead, and you can see up at the top, it says uploading 7 items. So it uploaded that whole folder for me. I can take and just any of these, I can just copy it to here. So the first one I put it into a folder, but if I want it on this main screen, all I have to do is take it to the top and it says copy. So it won't actually delete it off my desktop. I will have to go in here and actually delete it off my desktop to remove it from my desktop. Always make sure that you clean out your recycling bin after you have everything deleted so that you can not be using up all that storage space on your desktop. So that is the easiest way to kind of drag and drop is going to be the easiest thing. So you can create folders within OneDrive just by clicking down on New and Folder. So from here, now we know how to do our emails, we know how to do our calendar, we know how to do the basic overview of how to do our OneDrive. Now, how do we share with everyone? So there's a couple of things. So if you're just sharing with one person, you can click on these 3 dots. It gives you a bunch of options. So you can copy a link and then you can go to an email and actually email the link to someone. An important thing to note that they will have to have Outlook to be able to use this link. So if they don't, you'll have to download it and send it over to them. You can also share it just by clicking share. And so as long as it's an agent within here, you can go ahead and type in their name and it'll start pulling everyone up here. You can also change the provisions of how they can edit the actual document. So you can put a block on it and not allow edit. You can set an expiration date so you can get creative with that. So if you just want to share something, if someone they like something that you created, but you didn't want them to edit it, you can actually send it so that they can't edit anything on it. They would have to create it themselves, but they can use your ideas. So that is one thing. Just note that when you share something and they edit, it can come back and it'll edit yours as well. So this is a great way to share a form if you're working on a project together, and you can each make corrections to it. But it is easier if you use that team option as well. So you can create multiple forms in here. You can sync this to, if you have the desktop version, you can sync that as well. The other portion on this is going to be that Sharepoint. So that's going to be where we share everything with you from a company level. This will look different for everyone. On the left-hand side is going to be a home page. And what that is going to do, it's going to take us to all the different links that we've created for you. An easy way to kind of go through everything we have to offer from Berkshire Hathaway Select Properties. So with that, the Select University, this is where you can click and you can find the main calendar of when I'm teaching, where I'm teaching. I have anything that I'm doing webinar on, it has the Zoom link attached to it as well. So if I click it open, your Zoom link site in here, it gives a brief overview. To the right of the calendar, it'll have all my past teachings. So my whole remastery class, the whole book is in here. I try to keep it up to date, but it's like I continue to change that book as technology changes as well. Any of my checklists, anything that you need in there, it's going to be in here. Any of your business planning, it's going to be in there because we go through all of that in that series. You'll also see on the right-hand side here, there's different tech tips, different all the Ninja. So that's not the most recent Ninja. As soon as we get the most recent Ninja, we'll upload that here. If you are interested in Reload, it has all the Reload docs here. But then it has any presentation. So that's any of our live speakers. So this past year, we had a lot of different speakers come in through Zoom. Any of my teachings and stuff, it's all through there. So we're going to start taking these and we're going to move them over to a YouTube channel as well, so that you have multiple sources, and anything that would be short and sweet, we'd put up on Facebook. But typically, if it's going to be any kind of teachings, it's going to be here and YouTube. And we'll go back to the main SharePoint page. So the next thing is your Tech Wiki. So the main thing that we use Tech Wiki for now is really for printer installations. So if you do use an Apple product, any kind of laptop or anything, we do have issues with the updates that Apple does now. It does kick any kind of printer connections off. And it's not every time that they update. It's just there's certain updates that Apple puts out that will kick you off the whole network. So when that happens, you'll have to uninstall your printers and then reinstall them. So we really encourage you to use Apple phones and not the laptops or anything as far as that. But if you are going to purchase a new computer, please let us know. We have different specs and different things to look for when purchasing a new computer so that it can be most efficient for your business. We have a link library, which we'll come back to in just a moment, but this has all the major links that we really use for our business. Below this, you'll find any agent info. So this is any kind of things as far as being an agent with your, any kind of benefits that we have to offer. It will all be in here. Again, a company calendar. If you need the team builder forms, if you're adding someone to come join our team, that will be found here. Again, relocation, select leasing and management documents will be here. The company dashboard will be there. So that's just all of our statistics. And then Mary Ann sends out a memo every Monday. So we archive those here and save them. So if you ever lose it in your email or you want to go back and find a special one, you can always look right here and find that. And then you have your select gives back forms and then any kind of company events. So we're hoping that this year we can definitely fill this up and really have more activities this year. Our phone directory, our leadership team, and then our home office. So that's all here for you. If you ever have any questions, this is where you would find it. The main thing that we're going to talk about today within SharePoint is going to be link library. So before we go in that, I kind of want to do a quick overview of all the Microsoft products and how to link the desktop up with your online version. So like we said, is that if you want to do a Word doc in here, it's going to be an online document. It looks very similar to the desktop version. However, there are going to be some little different versions of it. So one thing to know is that when you're in your email, you always have this option. So if someone would send you a Microsoft document, a Word document, and you don't have the desktop, you would have to, let me filter this down to something with attachments. These are all PDF. So like this spreadsheet. So if I wanted to do, save this spreadsheet, but I didn't have the desktop app, what I'll need to do is actually click on this little arrow on the right-hand side and save it to my OneDrive. And then I would go into my OneDrive and open it there. And what that does is it allows me to open it online. So, I don't know what it was called. But just say it's one of these. So then it allows me to go ahead and open it there. So that is the way if you don't have a desktop version to do it. Now, if I was going to open it if I did have the desktop version, I could download it directly to my desktop. Sorry. And so by downloading it straight from here, that's not what I wanted. So I can just download it right from here. And so when I open it, it'll open and actually pull my desktop version of it. I would have to enable editing to use it. But if you have the desktop version, I want to just point out how to go ahead and open up or connect it to your OneDrive. So on the right-hand side at the very top, you will see that you can sign in to the account. So right now I'm currently signed in already, but I can have multiple different accounts. So if you are not signed in, it'll just give you an option right here. It says sign in. You'll want to do that, and you'll sign in with the same credentials that you have into your email online. If you have multiple Outlook accounts, you can set up multiple Outlook accounts here by signing in twice. Another thing to make sure that you have set up is going to be so that you can access your Outlook, your OneDrive, to be able to access your OneDrive from anywhere. So you can see here on the left-hand side, sorry, I'm moving all my Zoom stuff around. On the left-hand side, I can choose if I'm going to open up any kind of documents from my desktop. I can choose the basic desktop and everything, but on the left-hand side, you will also see that I have a OneDrive option. Like I said, I have not set up everything on this. This is a brand new computer. So right here, I would have to sign in to my email. And then I will connect it so that I can easily access my OneDrive from here as well. So now it's set up and you can see on the left-hand side, it now pulls OneDrive BHHS Select. So, and I'll give you step-by-step things. All right. And I'll need to turn off all the notifications because I did not read and I just put through there. But you can see now I can easily access any of that. So it's nice to be able to have that set up as well. So that's the one thing is that going through every one of these and making sure everything's set up and everything's connected, that's the biggest part of the initial setup so that you can have ease of mind when you are out in the field and working. So how do we set it up so that you can jump on any computer at any time and have access to everything? So the first thing we're going to kind of talk about is bookmarking. Bookmarking is going to be the biggest lifesaver in the world. So I have two email accounts. I have my Outlook account that I direct all my business from, and then I have my Gmail account, which is my trash account. So if I ever have to give out my email to anyone and I don't want them to bother me, I give them my Gmail account. If I actually want to talk to them, I give them my Outlook account. And that's just how I organize that part of my life. So the biggest thing is that when we use any kind of search device is to use, I I strongly encourage you to use Chrome. I know that Microsoft updated, it has the same sort of features. I am still all on board with Google Chrome, but if you prefer to use Microsoft, you can use the new Microsoft. It has the same features now. The only thing is that I find that it's still a little bit slower, but than Chrome, and you might see that on certain websites it may not have all the capabilities, or you might have issues signing in. But I haven't had anything so far with the new update. I feel like most people are pretty pleased with the new Microsoft products, but I already have my Chrome all set up, and I use it pretty frequently. So for me to set this all up, the biggest thing is that I sign in. I use Chrome, so make sure you have Chrome and use that. I do not suggest using Safari at all, but you can use the Firefox as well. That's efficient as well, and it is a little more faster paced than Microsoft. So if you go into Google Chrome, the first thing is create a Gmail account if you don't have one. But if you do, just go ahead and sign into your Gmail account. And so once you have that established, you can just go, you can add multiple accounts. Once you have that established, you'll notice that you have the capabilities. You won't have this originally showing at the top with all of my bookmarks of my fast links that I can get to. But you can add them by going to the top right-hand corner and clicking on these three dots, and it has this bookmark option. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you have a check mark next to show bookmarks bar. And I'll go through exactly how and what to bookmark. On the top right-hand corner, you'll see that these are called extensions. So this is a little bit different. These are things that are actively running in the background at all times. So the first thing you see is your LastPass, and that's the next step of setting everything up. So first, create a Gmail account if you don't have one. Sign into Gmail so that you can start bookmarking pages. I do not save any of my passwords to my Gmail account. The biggest thing is that just keep in mind that Gmail is the #1 hacked email or email site. So that's why I don't use it for my business, and that's why I don't save my passwords on it. It can easily be hacked into. It does have features. You can see if you look at the Google and the Gmails and everything, it has very similar features that we just talked about within Office 365. Office 365 just adds that security, and it's more of a business platform. So if you jump back in, once you have that set up, the first thing I want you to do after you set up your Gmail account and sign into that is go to LastPass. If you do not change anything about your business this year, please change this one thing. Please start using LastPass to save your passwords. It is very simple to use. It does not mess up anything. You just have to set it up correctly. It takes 5 seconds to set up. So if you want to set up LastPass, you just click on Get LastPass Free. Then you put in your email. I would suggest using your Gmail account on this, because if you forget your password, there's a good chance that you can't get into your Outlook email. You can usually get into your Gmail. And I have everything on my LastPass, every password from shopping, my kids' school, and work, all saved on LastPass. So I want it to be with me for life. So I put my Gmail account in, and then I create a master password and make sure, and then I confirm it. The biggest thing here is that you have a reminder, and it's optional. So you don't have to put a password in or a reminder in. Put a reminder in. Mine is, it dumbs it down for me. So if I ever forget my LastPass password, it is specifically how to type it in. So Giselle asked how it says Apple products track passwords and save them. How is LastPass better? It's not Apple. So it is a two-step. And so LastPass is backed by our IT department. It does take a two-step process to authenticate your password. I have an Apple phone, so I think it's really just what you're comfortable with Apple having access to. So I do not use the app like any of the Apple products especially when it comes to passwords. So it's really up to your comfort level. The biggest thing is that, again, I encourage you to use Google Chrome and not Safari. And again, like the same thing with when purchasing a computer, we do back using a PC and not an Apple, just for all the websites and our printers and the network. So Apple has, like, the products have their own capabilities. They're great for marketing and stuff, but that is all getting replaced by Canva. So it is making sure that you have a PC or a laptop that is efficient for conducting business on. And not to, I have an Apple phone, so I do, yeah. So I won't go into my Apple anymore. But just make sure you create that. LastPass does have a two-step authentication now, so it is more secure than your Apple account. With this, LastPass is also cloud-based, so I can have it on my phone. So I still have LastPass on my phone. It actually has a two-step authentication on my phone as well. So when I use it on my phone, I go to any website, it'll show that I have LastPass there. I still, from my phone, I do have a fingerprint. I do my fingerprint. It can do facial recognition too. So it does take multiple steps. You have to be signed into LastPass, and then you have to have a second way to authenticate that. That's all LastPass business is to save passwords. They do have, it is completely free. They do have a paid for version. So with me, I use the free account. However, I do not save any kind of banking material or anything like that on LastPass because it's not paid for. So I would suggest if you are wanting to save any kind of banking information, any kind of financial information, definitely consider paying for that upgraded account. As you set this up, the next thing they'll walk you through, the last step, as long as you have Google and you're using Chrome, it will actually ask you if you would like to add an extension to your Chrome browser. Again, that's another reason why I encourage you to use Chrome. You click yes, and then it'll create a little LastPass extension at the top right corner. So what this is it just shows you that it's actually actively working in the background. You can quickly open your vault, which would show you every website that you have access to, and all your sign-on information for that one website. So what's kind of nice about that is if I purchase a product and I purchased it online, I forgot where I got it from, I can go back into my vault, and if I created an account in there, I can click on it and find it again. So that's, but you can see I have my LastPass, and then I have some ad blockers as well, just so I don't get so many pop-ups. But those are always constantly running. So when I go to different websites, you'll see that my LastPass is actively working. As long as it's red, it means that I'm signed in. If it's black, it means I need to re-sign in. And if it's yellow, it's asking me to update one of my passwords for one of my other sites. Another nice thing about LastPass is that you can set it up to create revolving passwords as well. So what that means is that it will just put random letters and numbers in for you, so that, and if you can change it frequently, it'll save it to LastPass, and LastPass will autofill it in there. So the biggest thing I can say, never forget your LastPass password. So make sure that you put that reminder in there for you. So now you have your Gmail set up, you have your LastPass set up. The next step is saving all these little bookmarks. The perfect way to go through this is to go into that Sharepoint that we talked about. So make sure you sign into your Office 365. And that's the first thing is once you sign into Office 365, I would click on this right-hand side, go ahead and click bookmark, and then bookmark this tab. When you click on bookmark this tab, you can name it whatever you want. So I try to keep everything abbreviated pretty quick so I know what it is and I can have as many across the top as possible. And I have all mine set up in a way that's very OCD in alphabetical order. So, but it just helps me find things really easily. And I have all my work at the top. And if I go to the right-hand side, you can see that I have all my kids' school stuff together and everything else because I use that less frequently. So the things that I use most frequently, I want to be able to see and display it at the top of my screen. You can edit and move things around under the bookmarks. You can go through Sorry, not move onwards. You can go to Bookmark Manager, and it will allow you to move any of these up and down just by dragging and dropping. So, but where do we find all these? The quickest way to find all these websites in SharePoint, under your homepage, you have that link library. So we have this all set up that all your websites are in here that you really need access to. So it's as easy as clicking on the link, opening up that page, signing into it. So you can see that my LastPass is actively working. So if this was the first time, I would have to go in and put J Krieger and then my password, log in, and then a pop-up screen will come up asking me if I would like to save that to my LastPass. And I click yes. And then I would click bookmark this app. And so I would do that with every one of these sites that we have listed at the very top. So I go up to showing time and stop at showing time. If you use the select title group, they do have a website available for you to track your title process. But I don't use that. But if you do use that, that's available for you. I do save the HSA home warranty, so I can easily click here, sign in, and order a warranty really quickly. And then you have, some of our places that we order our signs from, anything that you need from Toolkit that's available there, House of Magnets, that's quick things. I don't have those saved, but I can always come back here and just find it because I don't use those enough. Real Satisfied, I would suggest saving. That is where we have all of our surveys. That's already done on your behalf and sent out. But if for some reason you need to go back and find a survey that would happen in the past, you can always click here and sign into that account. And then you have the different boards underneath there. So find your board. I do suggest saving your board and all your information to log into that as well. And below here, there's some additional, your total expert. So this is, again, is that USA Mortgage. You will have to have your login provided to you by your in-house lender. And that's the USA Mortgage Company and all the marketing that they have available for us. This is a quick link to Canva. We do not pay for that. That's up to you to use it. This is that marketing. I do a ton of classes on it. You'll see a bunch of classes this year as well. In there, you can create a free account. If you feel that you are comfortable with using Canva, I strongly suggest you paying for it. And then we have connections to your one-source solutions. This St. Louis County of Missouri, this is just an online version that you can click to, and I do have this bookmarked because if I have any of my municipality inspections, it's a quick link to all the different municipalities and contact number and everything else for each area. They updated it, so we need to go through, well, it's because of the COVID stuff. The better resource for that, though, is actually an app on your phone, which is St. Louis ASHI, A-S-H-I. So if you have not downloaded that app, download that app. It's free. It's awesome. It has a whole list of certified inspectors, but it also has city directory, which it goes through every municipality. It's not just St. Louis. It has Jefferson County, St. Charles County. It has all the different requirements for different areas and the contact numbers. It has the sewer lateral programs in there. So it's super beneficial, especially if you are looking at like showing property and you can see that there might be any kind of issues with sewer laterals or you're having a sewer lateral inspection. You can pull up, hey, the city might actually cover this. Here's some information on it. And you can have it. It just makes you look way more professional. It's free. Download it. Get familiar with it. It definitely has helped me out multiple times this past year. The name of the app is St. Louis ASHI, A-S-H-I. And I'll kind of, let me see, I have the picture. Let me see what it looks like. So it's just like a blue and white and it says STL ASHI. So it has the arch over it. And if you need me to send it to you, I can send it to you. So through here, that's all I would go. The one thing I will say when it comes to LastPass, the only thing you need to be aware of is when you save your CRM, so your website CRM, when you first sign into here, it will ask you every time if you want to add it to LastPass. The first time you sign in, you want to add it to LastPass. Every time after, you want to click Not Now. And the reason why is because the system gets really confused because you have multiple login IDs and passwords within the CRM. So it's not sure which one they should be saving. And so every time it's going to want to save a different one or replace everything. So always make sure you click Not Now after the initial sign in. And so that when you set this all up and you save these all across the top, and again, if you have additional sites, and you can see I've actually gone through my Office 365 and I saved my calendar to one because I can click on this and it'll take me right to my calendar. This one I can go right to my email. And then I have my Sharepoint page. So I can easily switch back and forth between different things. So I use anything that I use frequently, I bookmark it. The nice thing about this is that now if this computer would crash and I would need to go get another one, or you'll see me when I jump into your offices, I can sign in to any of those computers and it will look exactly like this. The first thing I do is just sign into my Gmail account and tell it to sync it up. And it'll ask me if I would want to sync, and I say yes, and it'll pull all my bookmarks over. It'll automatically put my LastPass up. I have to sign into my LastPass, allowing those passwords to come in, but then everything else is ready. So I can just start clicking from website to website, and my LastPass will autofill my password and my ID. So that is everything for your PC setup, and it's on. You have step-by-step instructions on the handout that I gave you. If you need to go back through that, I am recording this and I'll have it uploaded as well. And it gives us little. It has your phone set up in here as well. So it just has a list of apps to download. So you'll see the St. Louis ASHI on that. And then apps that you have to have given to you. So like your USA mortgage app, your lender has to provide that to you. The super e-key, the board, when you go to your board, they'll hand that to you. But it gives you a little, some little tips on how to organize it. For me, I take all my business apps on my phone and I put it all in one folder. So the directions on here is for how to do the folders on an Apple phone. On Androids, they might be different for each type of Android that you're working with, or if you have a Microsoft Office phone, it might be a little bit different, but you can always create folders and put everything together so you can keep it separate from your Candy Crush and not get confused. So that is everything. The last page also goes through select use SharePoint and explains different classes we have on there. But that is the portion of the training that I wanted to go through with you today. I'm going to stop recording. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask those without having it